morning, Jules here from Joolsedesigns at JT Creations. So welcome to my channel. So it's another beginner friendly tutorial, and what we're going to do is we're going to do an altered book. I did want, it was a more modern book that I'd chosen, but however I had taken out some pages and it had broke from there, so it had broke from the spine. So this is kind of an old book. This is 1932, but I'll use the pages. So this is only 95 pages, 94 pages, probably had a few more because you can see where I've ripped them out. So to do an altered book, what you do is you leave the first couple, then you go one, and then you pick your page that you want at the front, and you 1, 2, 3 or 4 or 5, and then you take these pages out. Then what you do is you stick that page and that page together, and what happens is you get, you know, with all them, then you just get a few pages. This book will only make about 10 pages, and I'm thinking of using that one on the front. Then what I usually do is I cover them with gesso and use them as art books. So I think we'll take 3 out. We'll see what it's like with 3. Now it's, what I usually do is I stick the ruler, I try and take them out as near to the ruler as possible, and then you've got your pages. Now what I don't want to do is I don't want to upset the, because this is stitched in, different books are different, so what I don't want to break is the threads. So what I'm doing is I'm sticking, now because this is an old book, it's kind of pulling on the glue, and what I do is I stick it down like that. And then that's your first page, and as you can see, so then we take the next one, so that's your second page. Then we want 1, 2, 3. I think what we might do is we might take 4 out, and then I'm pressing the ruler in. I'm trying to get as near you can use a stronger glue if you want, but once the pages are covered with gesso, nothing, that kind of protects your page from anything seeping in. Because what I'll use this for is I'll use this for a mixed media book, and we'll do a bit of easy mixed media. So that's my second page. As you can see the thickness there. Bead it up. See, that one came out, because I thought I wasn't going to be on camera, that one came out no bother. And this is all about the human body, so there's bits about reproduction organs and stuff like that, so I don't mind using this book. And then I just pull the pages together like that, and there we've got our other one. probably get about 10 pages out of this, which is quite enough, so I'll see you in a bit. Hi, it's me again. So I did all the pages, but what I did do was I managed to get 9, so I've got one. I've covered the first couple in gesso just so that it would dry. So I've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I got 9. And then all I do is I just get, I don't care if they stick together because you can easily peel them apart. This is gesso that I get. It's Boldmere, and it's white acrylic gesso. It's £6 from the works. It's a cheap shop here in the UK. It does for what I need. Obviously the professional artists that use gesso probably wouldn't recommend this, because what it is, it preps your canvas when you're going to put different mediums on. But all I want this to do is to protect my page. So I do the middle, and then I just don't do the whole lot, just to sort of like put the text into the background, because I don't want the text to take over my my artwork as such. Okay, I can sketch. Anybody that follows me on Facebook will have seen the recent video I put up of my dragon journal. I did the sketch while I was in Cyprus. I decided I wanted to do a dragon journal and I wanted to do the cover. But I was in Cyprus with very little supplies. So I sketched it, and I used a cereal box, a stone from the beach to do the eye, and some spongy napkins that I managed to get hold of in one of the restaurants. And when I say spongy napkins, they were just kind of thick, one layered, quite thick. You could use normal napkins, you would just have to bunch them up, and it turned out really well. So I'm just and all this does is it just keeps your surface waterproofed, so that paints and things like that you're going to throw on your page or your canvas isn't going to soak through into the page and ruin it. So I'm just, as you can see, I'm just slapping it on. Another whiff for gesso, just slap it on. I have to keep stopping so that it doesn't dry and totally stick to the page underneath, because it is acrylic. So, and 9 pages to me is okay, because I get bored quite easily, and then things get left and lost, and find them months or years later and think, oh yeah, I'll finish that off. But this, I want to do kind of a mixed media, easy mixed media series for beginners, not only using inks and things like that for splashing, you know, and smooshing, but I want to use cheap watercolor paints, cheap acrylic paints, anything that can sort of like help you with your decorating your journals and albums and things. And we'll shove some down here. The only reason I'm covering the text up quite a bit is because it is about the body, so I'm not wanting anything sort of like showing. I've managed to get rid of all the body parts and skeletons, and then as soon as you've finished with your brush, shove it in water. I keep the little foil because that keeps that airtight. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go away and let this dry so you can see I'm peeling it apart. It's starting to stick. But all this does is, you know, when you're pulling it apart, it's giving it a nice texture. See there, it's starting to stick, so I'm getting ripped paper now, so I need to be careful. Whoop. I might need to go over, you can see, but it is giving it a nice texture. I wouldn't recommend it. So we're going to get the ripped paper effect. That's the wrong one. I might need to stick them down again. So I would just, that's stuck. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let the air get in amongst that. I might need to stick my pages down. Because of the video, I'm trying to do things a lot quicker than what you should. You should let it dry for a couple of hours. However, I'm quite impressed with the texture I'm getting from the paper that's been ripped. So as that, yeah, that needs to come off there, and I think we might cover that little skeleton. Well, skeletons are alright, I suppose. It's what's inside us, isn't it? And just separating these pages. And I'll see you in a bit when it's a little bit dry. Hi, so I'm back. So it's dried, and as you can see, you know, it's ripped some of the paper off. It's quite thick book page, so I will use these, no problem at all, apart from the ones with the bits of body on and things like that. But so what I want to do is I want to do a little bit of napkin. And I think we might put it on there. Now I've got this napkin. Now if you've never done napkin decoupage before, when you get your napkins you just take all the layers off so it's just one single layer. And then what I usually do is I get a brush and I just wet, and then we just pull that apart. You can cut it, I sometimes cut it, but this, normally napkins are I've got white backgrounds. This one's got a bit of a grey background, so that's why I'm not cutting it. So I want kind of a rough And if you wet it enough, you get enough. And then we'll just, so it's lavender, whoops. And if you rip a bit of the picture off, it doesn't matter. And there we are. And we'll put that back there. So I'll get my page and I think we'll put that there. Now what I normally do is I get a little pot like that and find my Mod Podge. Right. Now this is Mod Podge. It's had polythene on and I'll need to put some more on because that's yucky. And then I just tip. Oh, we've got a big stringy bit there, but never mind. Just push that over. And we'll put that back in. And then what I do is I just put water in it. There's no exact mix. I'm going to take this. Again, Mod Podge and glues like that, if you don't use them, they will go, you'll get a skin on them. Now what I'm using is, this is the brush that I used to put the gesso on. I've had it soaked in water, so it's fine. And then all I do is I just got a dirty bit there. And I just coat that with Mod Podge and then place that on there. If it goes over the page, it's fine. And just put it down as smoothly as you can. You will get wrinkles. There is a way to get rid of them. You just run an emery board once it's dried. And just give it 2 seconds, because what I don't want is I don't want the Mod Podge going onto the page underneath, because it will stick and then I'll have more. And you can see where I said that there was grey in the background of this. That will lighten up a little bit. And be careful when you're brushing it on, because you can rip your napkins. And then I just put that back in the water. I'm just going to take my gun, my heat gun, and just give this a blast. And you can see there's no water got through the page because of the gesso. It's protected the page, and the more layers you put on these pages, kind of the stiffer they get as well. So this has now got a layer of napkin on and a layer of watered down Mod Podge. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bit of textured paste on it as well. And where you've got these bits, I've got an emery board here, so all I do is I just so I can hear my husband, he's on the phone downstairs. I'm sure he's deaf. I hope the person he's talking to, because he's sounded very loud. And then if you don't like the wrinkles, you can take an emery board over it and smooth it out like that. And if you keep going, it does work. I'm not bothered, I like the texture. And then what I want to do now is I want to do a little bit of textured paste, I think. So we've got our water there. Now textured paste I make myself. Now I've not used this in about 3 months. Let me get my wee knifey, my wee palette knife. Yes, a little bit thick, but it's okay. And if it got a bit too thick, all I would do is I would just put some water on it. So this is a text. You can't, it's illegible, you can't make it out, but I got it from Temu, and all I'm doing is I'm just putting that on. Just where I think. And you just spread it on like butter, and we'll have a bit down here. And you can colour this text as well before you put it on. The textured paste, not the text, the textured paste I make myself, and it's glue, talcum powder and acrylic paint, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to lift that off, and there we are. Now this, just let me, I'm just using, it's just a cellophane bag that I use, and I'll just get most of it off. Use a wet wipe. Wet wipes don't tend to disintegrate when they've got water on them. That was a tissue. And that'll do until I've finished and I get it washed. Now here, as you can see, I've managed to get it on the book. I should have had something underneath it, but never mind, just adds to the texture to the next one. And then again, I'm just going to dry that off again. I think what I want to do is I want to put a little bit of wax So I've got some wax pastes here, and I've got gold, which I'm swithering. I've got a couple of different golds. That one's classed as yellow, but that one does, and I've got that one, and I've got that's bronze, that's copper, so I think I'm going to go with that. So these are the cadence ones. And I got these out in North Cyprus. They've got a... Right, I broke one of my nails the other day, so... And I'm not bothered about getting it perfect. All I want to do is I just want to line around the, kind of just get a sort of like a rough bit on the text. And there's a little bit of a it was a bit of the stencil. It mustn't have, you know, when they cut them on the machines, it mustn't have popped out properly, so it stuck to the... Yep, that's a bit much, but never mind. I think my husband must be talking to his brother in America. Yeah, it sounds like Bill. So they kind of get animated when they haven't spoke to each other for a wee while. And I think that's it. Now what I was wanting to do was do a little bit of spray. I'm just going to get a wet wipe just to wipe my hands. I can practically hear him word for word. Deary me. So what am I looking for? We've got peeled paint. These are the sprays. I was going to use a purple one, but I'll not bother. We'll use peeled paint and fossilized amber. Now I've not used these in a while, so that they do need to be... I can hear the... Once you can hear the ball tooling them, it means it's starting to work on the bottom. Gives your arms a good workout. Yep, that's it. Okay, so what I want to do now is I'm just going to like this. I use these until I can't possibly use them anymore. I'm going to put that under there. I'm going to get my I'm just filling my wee misty spray up. And these are mini misters, and what I'm doing is I'm just spraying that, and then I'm just going to put and I'm just letting it flow. Mixed it in a bit, and I think my poor little dog's had enough of listening to him. She's coming up the stairs. Oh. Just going to run that round there. And I'm just mopping that. And I'm just going to mist it a little bit more. It's just to let it, all I'm doing is I'm just letting it. Now if it was the distress sprays, there would be more colour, but because it's not the distress sprays, you're just getting a it'll just be an iridescent kind of. And then I'm just going to quickly dry that off, put them on there. I'm going to put some little bits. I've got this. This was when I was doing 4 paint chips. And I think I'm going to have a little bit of boot page. We've got some boot page here, and I want it that way. I'm going to rip this. I think I did this on the Dutch. I managed to get hold of a Dutch book. It had just come off the print. It had never been read because the pages were all still, they hadn't been chopped, they were all joined, but it was so old and brittle, so I just used it for painting on and making labels. Couldn't have used it as a journal page, it was just too brittle. Even gluing 2 together was just not very good at all. Now, rather than, I'm going to use this Mod Podge glue. And I'm just putting that over there. Just put that over there, might as well give it a hole. Because the Mod Podge, it gives it a coating. So we'll give that a little bit of a dry off. Just mop it up a bit. One thing you have to do is when you're heating over glue, if Mod Podge that's watered down isn't too bad, but if you do it over Mod Podge it'll bubble if it gets too hot. Dry. I'm quite pleased with that, and then I'm going to put a label on it. And I've got some French labels here, so because it's lavender, and we'll and then I'll put this on with art glitter glue. I'm just swithering whether to put a bit of purple on there. I used the green and the gold mainly because this was green and that looks like a greeny gold, so that's why I picked those colours, because they kind of matched in with them. And they're just watercolour paints, cheap watercolour paints. And there we are. And just going to frame my page. Might need to do it in a slightly darker colour, but I think it's okay. So I'm using walnut stain, which is a dark one, but we've also got scorched timber and ground espresso. So I'm getting a visit from my daughter this afternoon. She's just had a hip operation. When she was about 15 we discovered that she had clicky hips that had never been picked up when she was a baby, and she'd been able to click her hips out her socket for as long as she could remember. So obviously the wear and tear when she was swimming and running and things like that, her hips used to click out. And she got to about 15 and then asked me if that was normal, and I was like, no, it's not. So it's caused a little bit of damage. I mean, she's 46 now, but she's still young for getting a hip replacement. They usually wait till you're in your 60s and 70s. And I'm just going around the edges. And there we are. That's our first art page in our altered book. Anything goes with these things. You don't have to put napkins in. You can put pictures. I've got, where is it? I sometimes like doing things like that, and all that is just bits of magazines and, you know, things like that. You know, I'll do that. And I think that's what we'll do. We'll do sort of kind of a full page, double page spread the next time. And all I'm showing you is just easy mixed media, how to make an altered book. A lot of people, if they, you know, they'll do these books and they'll get 12 pages and they'll use like that side and that side for a month, you know, sort of like, so this will be January, and they'll have a January calendar, and then they'll just put the highlights or the goals or whatever. You can do it for anything, but I got nine pages. I'm gonna have to glue these back down, so that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then obviously I've got these, but I'm not liking that skeleton. I think I'll just might actually put them together, and I just don't like the skeleton. But anyway, enough waffle. So that is so we've got a layer of gesso, a napkin, we've got Mod Podge, we've got the textured paste, we've got wax, we've got the distress spritz, and then we've got some book page and a label, and then a little bit more Mod Podge and some ink, and that's so you can practice your art. And if you want, you can rip these out and put them on the front of your journals. Sometimes I've done that, you know, if I've been looking through and I've seen one and I've thought, oh, that would go with whatever journal I'm working on, I'll take it out and use it on the front of my journal. Anyway, enough waffle, and that is everything. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.